Hey everyone, this is Dr. Dustin Hendrix with Chiro MSK Specialists, and this is also Miss Bentley, our rehab specialist over here. She's going to be hanging out with us today. Um, so we've done a little bit more on the overhaul with the website. We have 2 more videos left after this one, and then we just have like a a little outro Q&A. We may not even record that one since we've already had so much going on here. So we'll be doing should I be worried about the imaging results last, and then next week we'll do the one on is pain in my head. But this week we're going to do can you have chronic pain without injury. So we had some questions to go deeper into the nervous system on this stuff. And so let's go ahead and get into that. So, we've already kind of gone over, the chronic pain injury and, is the tissue the issue or is it like a sensitive nervous system type thing? So that's what we're dealing with right now. So, first we want to welcome you back. How have you guys been moving? What has been successful for you guys? Are you starting to see as this program builds? Because, this is a 10-week program and by the time you get to it, you're doing 11 minutes of cardio four times a week. You're doing a couple rehab games. You're doing some meditation, some yoga. So, the program should really be starting to build for you. You should be sleeping a lot better. There should be a lot of wonderful things that are starting to happen in your life. Comment, let us know. Let us know how this course is also helping you and the success that you've had. Okay, guys. So let's get into the nervous system a little bit more here. So, we had the brain and the brain meeting and, some of the different areas of the brain. We'll go a little more into depth about that one next week. But this week, we want to talk about more of the periphery. The spinal cord is involved in this one, but we're really looking at more of what we call the peripheral nervous system. And so what I mean by that is we're looking at the nerves that go out in the body. The most common one is the sciatic nerve. In the upper body, though, we have the radial, the ulnar, and the median. And remember, your nerves start in your spine. Some of them combine and they go down. So we have the brachial plexus in the neck, and median, radial, ulnar. That's much more simple to say. There's musculocutaneous, there's long thoracic. You could just write a book on how many there is. There's a sciatic nerve, there's a femoral nerve, there's the obturator. There's a lot, but let's not get too bogged down on that one. So, now that we've listed all the nerves, what we want to kind of talk about is like, interstates. We're in Texas here. So our common interstates are, 35 and 45, and then we have 20, 30, and then 10 down in Houston. So, you can kind of look at a state like interstate map. That's the easiest way to look at it. And then the other way to look at it is, what are these highways kind of made out of? What is your nervous system made out of, and like how the fibers are distributed. The easiest way to think about that is actually looking at the wiring on a house. So we'll get into a little bit of that. So a few fun facts. We have what's called mirror neurons. Bailey's going to come say hi again. So with the mirror neurons, she's pretty cute. I would normally stop her, but yeah, so we have mirror neurons, and so with the mirror neurons, let's say if you were to yawn, somebody by you is more likely to yawn as well. So that's kind of fascinating. Nerve signals can send at 286 miles per hour, and the slowest can be 1 mile per hour. Oh, thank you, sweet girl. Appreciate you. There's some stuff about how we have subconscious reflexes. So, like when you come into our office, we check your patellar tendon reflex and your Achilles reflex. We use the little hammer, bicep, brachioradialis, tricep. You can hit those as well too. But it's really interesting. So the reason why we hit those reflexes is they're actually going back to a specific spot in the spine, and we're actually trying to check the health and the spinal level of that one. If you have something more ominous going on, they can kind of give you an idea of where the lesion's at. Not super important because if we do, we're going to refer that out for MRI and emergent care. But it's just kind of interesting. So that happens without you knowing it when you tap those reflexes. Spinal cord has roughly 13.5 million neurons throughout its length. So pretty extensive. You can hack your nervous system. Scientists kind of played with this with lights and stuff like that. An easy way to hack your nervous system is just, breathing patterns. The carotid baroreceptors, please don't do this, but if you were to massage both sides, some people are actually so sensitive they would collapse out. That's why they've caught sometimes occlusions in carotid arteries from men who would wear tight, like neckties and stuff like that. It could have been women with turtlenecks as well. Okay, so let's look at the nervous system as a superhighway. And we talked about that, the foot, the leg, the thigh, the arm. The longest one that we have is the sciatic nerve, and you hear sciatica a lot. It starts in the low back, and then it wraps down and goes down into the butt, the thigh, the back of the thigh, then the back of the leg, and then into the foot. And so the sciatic nerve is what we call motor and sensory. So, it can tell you basically how to move your leg to be able to walk, and then it can also pick up on sensations as well. Okay, let's see if we missed anything there. So we talk a little bit about, the somatic nervous system, that just soma always means body. And, just how your body feels on the ground on the foot. So basically the 10,000 foot view of what happens is, so say that I want to pick up my foot to be able to walk, the sciatic nerve will actually send a signal, and it'll run all the way to the sciatic nerve, and then what that's going to do is going to run into the spinal cord. Then the spinal cord will make a decision if that nerve's going to get sent through its pathways, and then what the signal is going to do is going to send up into the brain, and then the brain will use things like the midbrain and the cerebellum to help coordinate the movement. So it's quite fascinating, and then the brain would send it back down. But really all the sciatic nerve can do, or that highway can send, is just a signal up to the brain. And it's not always just danger signals. It can also be, how to move in space and tension and stuff like that. Okay, so it's really interesting. So when you actually look at what the nervous system is made up of, we have different fiber types. And the easiest way to look at this is like in a house. So each house has a different type of wiring, and depending on how thick or how small the wiring is on the house, it's going to go to different areas. So, your washing machine, your refrigerator, your oven, things are going to have bigger wiring versus, like if something's just controlling like a light. But your body is no different. So they break it into A, B, and C fibers, and A has 4 subdivisions, and you could break the A's up even more. Your muscle spindles and Golgi tendons fall inside the A's as well. But yeah, so the A's are your thickest, so they're going to send the fastest. And so when you look at the nerves as well, the other thing you have to think about is not just size, but what we call myelination. So it's basically a fancy word for conduction. So basically what that means is, think about your nerves being supercharged, like they're wrapped in something that makes them send signals a lot faster. So those are the 2 things you look at with speed. So what does this have to do with your pain? So traditionally they taught that the A delta fibers were the sharp pain fibers, and the C fibers were the dull chronic pain fibers. But this doesn't work. So what I mean by that is, I have no doubt that they can send the danger signals, but they don't directly send pain signals. And we've gotten into this. The pain is actually a perception from the brain. And so let's kind of use 2 examples to look at this. So let's say that you were trying to cross the street and you twisted your ankle, okay? So, your body picks up on pain, it shuts you down immediately. Now, what happens if a bus is coming? So the problem with the A delta fibers and the C fibers always sending pain is, if that bus were coming, those fibers would automatically send the pain signal and they would shut you down, and then you get hit by the bus. But it doesn't work that way. Our bodies and our nervous system are complex, so the brain will pick up and say, hey, there's a bus coming, we got to get across the street. Okay, now once we're across the street, okay, now my ankle hurts. But that just goes to show you that it's not as nice and neat as like, oh, these are the pain fibers, these are that. So, to sum it up, we've kind of talked about this before. What do you feel? Mechanical, temperature, tissue inflammation, nerve inflammation, immune system. Your body's picking up on like the immune cells and the fluid and stuff. We used to call it kind of like the soup of the body that's sending into healing. This is, the common example of why somebody's like, well, I had a surgery in my knee, and whenever it gets colder, my leg hurts, or when it's raining. Because remember, your body doesn't have pain receptors. It only can send a signal. Sometimes the signal is a danger signal, but the brain still has to decide if the danger is actually going to be something that it acts on or even sends a pain signal with that one. So it's pretty fascinating. Let us know if you have any further questions on that one. So the homework for this week, and I just want you to follow along. Basically, what we want you to do now is we want you to increase 1 minute from your cardio. The reason why this is going to be a little bit different is because once we made out the videos and I could see the entire path, I saw a way to organize it a little bit better. So the direct recommendations on this one may be a little bit differently. But now you've got your pain recovery weekly course right here. You've got your rehab board game, and yeah, so we're really excited about this class and what it will do to reframe pain and how you look at it. And through that, how that's going to get you back to doing what you love faster. We're so proud of you for undertaking this course and taking your pain head on. This can be a process, take your time, especially when we start talking about, the tissue isn't the issue. And that's where you kind of have to ask yourself, like, okay, somebody can literally have phantom limb pain. I can have an amputation, and the part that was amputated can still cause me to have pain. So you got to kind of really, really think about that and unpack it. If you need more time, please take it. If you're stuck, we're always here for you guys. Let us know what questions you have. Next week, we're going to look a little bit deeper into the brain and how it has a meeting. So we already talked about the brain being the body's CEO. But next week, we're going to back up and talk about that one. And then, guys, we only have one more after that one. We're going to go into the imaging and also kind of the results and, things of what we're looking at with, pain neuroscience and how it affects pain and how it gets you back to your life. Guys, let us know if you have any questions. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day. And Bentley says bye too.